Hello, my dear children. Today we are going to learn a grammar lesson, past continuous tense. Before we start our lesson, let's watch a video.
Hey, look who's here! Sis, what a surprise!
Hey, I didn't expect to see you here. Please join me.
How was your day, Julia?
Oh, I had an awful day. It seemed to be such a lovely day at the beginning. I was sitting on the balcony, drinking a cup of coffee. The sun was shining, someone was playing a violin in the street, and I was enjoying a beautiful afternoon. I was feeling hungry, so I decided to make spaghetti. But I realized that I didn't have any tomato sauce. So I went to the grocery store to buy some. After buying a few items, I finally found the tomato sauce. I was reading the label when the jar just slipped out of my hands and fell down. There was glass and red sauce all over the floor and splattered all over my shoes. I looked around and noticed that everyone was staring at me. People were smiling and whispering to each other. Soon I noticed that I was leaving a trail of red footprints through the store. I found a grocery store worker and let him know what I had just done. I offered to help clean it up, but he declined. I was so embarrassed that I wasn't even looking where I was going. And I knocked over a display of chips. I was just standing there in shock. A manager was walking by me that very moment and noticed the mess I had made. I was expecting her to be angry, but she wasn't. She said they would take care of everything. She was smiling. Maybe she was thinking about how clumsy I was.
Oh, poor you, sis! I'm sorry you had to go through this. It was just a bad day.
And there's more. While I was waiting to pay the checkout, I realized I forgot my wallet home. I was mortified.
Oh no. So what did you do?
I apologized and left all my shopping there.
Maybe you're too tired and stressed out. You should take a few days off from work and get some rest.
Yeah, you're right. You know, I called you yesterday at about 8 p.m., but you didn't answer. What were you doing?
You'll never guess what happened yesterday evening. I was sitting in the living room watching TV when I suddenly felt a strong smell of smoke. It was coming from the corridor outside our apartment. I opened the door and saw smoke at the end of the corridor. Mrs. Brown lives there. I grabbed the fire extinguisher and ran towards her apartment. I opened the door and there was a big fire. The flames were spreading quickly. I put out the fire as fast as I could. Then I saw Mrs. Brown in the living room. She was lying down on the floor. She was screaming for help.
Help! Help!
She was bleeding. I called the ambulance right away.
Oh, poor Mrs. Brown. Is she okay now?
Yes, luckily she's fine.
But what happened?
It seems that the fire was started by some candles that were burning in the living room. Mrs. Brown was dozing off when the fire started. She woke up, and while she was trying to put out the fire, she fell down and broke her arm.
She is really lucky to be alive thanks to you. You're a real hero. And where were you, Isabella, when all that happened? What were you doing?
I was taking a shower, so I didn't notice anything. But when I came out of the bathroom, I felt the smell of smoke and knew something was going on. And I soon found out everything.
I'm glad things turned out fine in the end. I'm so happy to spend such a wonderful evening with my brother and my sister-in-law.
Now let's see what is past continuous tense. The past continuous tense expresses action that was taking place at a particular moment in the past. For example, I was watching television last night. The children were doing their schoolwork in the morning. My mother was preparing lunch. Now let's see how to make sentences in past continuous tense. We use the be verbs was or were. The subject I, we use the be verb was. You, we, they, and for plural nouns we use the be verb were. He, she, it, and for singular nouns we use the be verb was, and we have to add ing for the verb. Now let's see the examples. I was reading a storybook. We were feeding some seeds for the birds. She was cutting a paper. It's time to make smart choices. Let's practice. Children, can you write these sentences in past continuous tense? First one, they play football. They were playing football. 2. He sing. He was singing. 3. She read a book. She was reading a book. 4. Tom jump. Tom was jumping. 5. My mom make a cake for me. My mom was making a cake for me. 6. Martin play the guitar. Martin was playing the guitar. 7. The chef cook. The chef was cooking. 8. They ride a bike in the garden. They were riding a bike in the garden. 9. The bird fly. The bird was flying. 10. We make a snowman. We were making a snowman. Now let's make negative sentences in past continuous tense. Children, when we make negative sentences in past continuous tense, we have to add the word not right after the be verbs. Subject, we use was or were, and you have to add not, and the base verb adding ing. For example, I was not watching television last night. The children were not shouting in the class. My mother was not preparing lunch. Rule number 4. Make smart choices. Children, can you change the following sentences into past continuous negative form? First one, she was playing the violin. She was not playing the violin. 2. The kids were playing cricket. The kids were not playing cricket. 3. Mrs. Jane was teaching English. Mrs. Jane was not teaching English. 4. I was riding my bicycle. I was not riding my bicycle. 5. We were helping our parents in the garden. We were not helping our parents in the garden. Let's make questions in past continuous tense. When we make questions in past continuous tense, we have to begin with the be verb was or were, the subject and the base verb adding ing, and don't forget to put the question mark. For example, was he watching television last night? Were the children shouting in the class? Was my mother preparing lunch? It's time to make smart choices again. Children, can you change the following sentences into past continuous tense question form? First one, she was playing the violin. Was she playing the violin? 2. The kids were playing cricket. Were the kids playing cricket? 3. Mrs. Jane was teaching English. Was Mrs. Jane teaching English? 4. I was riding my bicycle. Was I riding my bicycle? 5. We were helping our parents in the garden. Were we helping our parents in the garden? Now let's make negative questions in past continuous tense. When we make negative questions in past continuous tense, we have to use the contract form or short form. Was or were, not, and the subject, base verb adding ing. For example, wasn't he watching television last night? Weren't the children shouting in the class? Wasn't my mother preparing lunch? Let's make smart choices again. Children, can you make negative questions in past continuous tense? First one, was she playing the violin? Wasn't she playing the violin? 2. Were the kids playing cricket? Weren't the kids playing cricket? 3. Was Mrs. Jane teaching English? Wasn't Mrs. Jane teaching English? 4. Was I riding my bicycle? Wasn't I riding my bicycle? 5. Were we helping our parents in the garden? Weren't we helping our parents in the garden? Children, please complete all the exercises in your Grammar Master textbook, page numbers 19 to 25. And also, please complete all the student notes. Stay safe and goodbye.